Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
That was slightly better. We're going to work on that. Now, welcome you all to Monmouth State Park. Now, before I can continue, I want to lay down some ground rules. First off, let's use our imaginations and imagine an imaginary line in between that post following the brick all the way down to that tree. At no point can you cross that line. We're firing in that direction. We don't want anyone to get hurt. But please, come right up to that line. You're not going to see anything from over there. Best seat in the house, right there, guaranteed. Yeah. Now the soldiers you see us represent today at Monmouth, our soldiers are the 17th Regiment of Foot. Yes, His Majesty's 17th Regiment of Foot. Now they arrived here in Boston, North America, in Boston, 1775, December of 1775. They will follow the British Army through many campaigns, New York, Princeton, Philadelphia, before arriving here, 1778, June 1778. You see that house out in that distance? The 17th was just on the other side of that house, dressed as we are today. Now, when these British soldiers arrive here in North America, they are dressed exactly the same as they would be in England and Europe. But they find certain items need to be changed in order to survive here, North America, with its terrain and its climate. Instead of wool breeches and wool gaiters, we wear linen trousers, a one-piece garment that can survive the terrain and climate here. Coats can be shortened, hats can be cut down, but there are a few items on our kit that will not change whether we be in Europe or in North America. Across our right shoulder, we wear our bayonet belt. Inside, where we'd store our bayonet, turns this musket into a very nice pike. But this is originally a waist belt. It was originally worn around the waist, but it's fine that it's much more comfortable to wear it across their shoulder. On our right-hand side, we carry our cartridge pouch. This pouch contains a block of wood drilled out with 21 holes for 21 rounds of ammunition, enough for each soldier on campaign. And directly relating to that, and the third item that will not change, is the musket. Now, each one of these muskets you see before you are all 1769 short land pattern muskets. This, of course, does not mean they were all made in 1769. This means that in 1769, the Royal Board of Ordnance is going to sign a decree stating that they want all their major armories, Tower, Stowe, Dublin, all to make weapons based off this exacting specification. These weapons are 4 inches shorter than their long land pattern cousins, making them lighter, about 8 or 9 pounds, well balanced. But just like every firelock of the period, these weapons have 3 main parts. On the front face of the weapon is the barrel. This smoothbore iron tube, 12 gauge, is held in with pins to the stock, or all the woodwork you see on the musket. And on the right-hand side of the weapon, the firing mechanism, the lock. Now on this lock, you see what looks like a bird or a dog craning its head back. Well, this is the dog or cock of the lock. Now inside the jaws of the cock is flint. Now, can anyone tell me what flint is?
Fire starter.
Well, how does it do it? What is it specifically?
It ignites the gunpowder to be
Well, what is it? But what is it? What is flint? It's a stone, that's right. It's a stone with very unique properties. One of those properties is if you hit it at the right angle with a strong object, you nap it. You create a razor sharp edge. In turn, the next property of flint leads me to the next piece on the lock. This L-shaped piece of iron situated in front of the cock. This is known as the hammer or battery. This has a welded on face of steel. So when I bring that cock back to full cock, all the tension of the mainspring underneath the lock, resting on the trigger, protected by the trigger guard. Well, when I pull that trigger, that flint will fly forward, scraping against that steel face, raining down a shower of sparks. Now those sparks land in the last piece of the lock, the pan. This spoon-shaped device holds a priming charge. That priming charge ignites. That ignition goes through a small touch hole or vent hole on the right-hand side of the weapon. That ignition gets through that hole, lights off your main charge, and sends your round forward. Now, in civilian life, these weapons can be loaded piece by piece. A hunter, well, he's going out to hunt. What is he hunting? Do you guys hate, what do you hate more, deer or geese?
Geese.
Geese always wins. So this hunter's going out, he's going out with bird shot. So when he's ready to load his musket, or his fowler, he will take his powder horn, measure out a set amount of powder for his priming, cast his weapon about, measure out another set amount of powder for his main charge, take some wadding, send that down, measure out enough bird shot, 3 times the weight of the powder, send that down, take out a waxed or a grease patch, send that down, and then finally take out his ramrod and ram it all home. But can anyone identify a problem with this? It takes way too slow. So, by the early parts of the 18th century, each major army of the world has developed the cartridge, or the cartouche. Now, this hollow paper tube has at the bottom a lead ball sized to the weapon. On top of that, enough powder to prime and load the piece. The paper tube itself, not only its container, well, it gets rammed down on top, acts as the wadding. Now, I'm sure on anticipation of coming here today, you have all been watching tons and tons of Hollywood war movies. And in these movies, they do this very dramatically. What's the first step we need to do? Start loading this weapon. Bite it off with our teeth, exposing the powder, pouring the powder in the pan, shut the pan, cast the weapon about, pour the rest of the powder, the paper, the ball, down the barrel, take out our handy-dandy ramrod, ram it all home. Now this is a lot faster, yes? A whole lot faster. So much faster than a well-trained British soldier can get off a round every 10 to 15 seconds. That's 4 to 6 shots a minute for any of you math majors out there.
Hoorah.
Now, before you stand 6 well-trained, extremely disciplined, strikingly handsome soldiers. Well, what's better than just 6 British soldiers?
Battalion.
And a battalion, hundreds, thousands, right? More the merrier. Let's pick a nice round number, shall we? How about 37? The size of Clayton's company of the 17th Regiment of Foot here in North America. Now let's say we have the company all milling about in a field. They don't know where they are. They're just standing around. Captain Clayton, he comes riding over to us. He dismounts from his horse. He wipes the sweat from his brow and looks at us with his steely gaze. And he says, "Gentlemen, the enemy is upon us. Go ahead and point your muskets however you feel and fire whenever you feel like it." Can anyone see a problem with this?
Friendly fire.
Friendly fire, that's right. And friendly fire is never friendly. So we've come to a problem that has plagued military since antiquity. We look back at the Roman legions. Do you find legionnaires standing in a field doing whatever they please? No. They are organized into what they're named after, their legion, their rank and file system. Allows them to fight, move, and act as one united body, all stabbing at the same time with their gladius swords. And Julius Caesar's going to use these ranks and files, and he's going to conquer much of the known world. Now, as the years go by, the weapons change, so does the rank and file system, updating with the centuries. By the 18th century, it changes even then to keep up with the muskets. And in 1764, a new manual of exercise, His Majesty's 1764 Manual of View Exercise, is released. An updated version of the previous one. Company, form. Now, in this 1764 manual exercise, in the 1764 Manual of View exercise, it calls upon at first 3 ranks of men. That is to say, there should be a 3rd rank man right here. But if there is a 3rd rank man, what is that 3rd rank man supposed to do every time he's going to fire?
Kneel.
He's going to have to kneel down. And what is he going to have to do every time he's going to reload? Stand back up again. That makes it very difficult to move. So, we do know that by the early parts of the first few battles of the American Revolution, these soldiers are forming up in 2 ranks. Each rank a half arm's distance away from each other, elbow to elbow between the files. Now, the rear rank is a half arm's distance away, so when they go to present their muskets, their barrels clear the front rank quite clearly. Let's say if they were 2 arms distance away, that would cause some problems. So they form at half arm's distance. Now, in this manual review exercise, it also dictates how we're to hold our muskets and when we are to hold our muskets, how to move them around. It doesn't matter if this front rank man here, he's the best shot in the company. Every time he is to go to load, he takes a big step back. Well, that throws everybody else off. So in this manual review exercise, it details how we're supposed to hold them, how we're supposed to move them so we don't hurt each other, and we keep it in unison by counting a second of time, or 1, 2, between each motion. Now, when these British soldiers are recruited, they are taught this manual exercise, step-by-step loading procedures. But by this point in the American War, these soldiers are well trained enough, so all they have to hear to load is prime and load. Step up to the cover, come down, and begin to load our muskets. Each man doing it as quick as possible.
Quick.
We are all ready. We'll come back up to this position so our officers know we're loaded. Make ready! Now, you will have us make ready, locking into position, all of us fully cocking our muskets. You will wait till an opportune moment presents itself. We might now be facing down New Jersey militia. They get within 100 yards. Or Continental Dragoons. We wait for them to get within 80 yards, an optimal distance to fell that first rank of horses, trip up the rear rank. But when we're ready to fire, who will give the command to? Take! Each of us takes careful aim on an enemy. And I assure you they're taking careful aim. A well-trained British soldier can be expected to hit a man-sized target upwards to 100 yards. They wait quietly and patiently for that last order through. Springs back up to that loading procedure. Load again.
Again.
You have earplugs back on.
That's why many a veteran around this time usually lost hearing.
Wouldn't be surprised. Nobody thought of that.
Try to load. And we'll do this over and over and over again until our officer tells us to stop. But now this works extremely well in the fields of North America. But what do we have a lot here that we don't find in Europe a lot? Trees! Yeah, forest! As far as the eye can see. Now, standing in a line like this is very conducive. So the British Army adapts very, very quickly to this style of fighting, able to match the Americans at every step. Now, in order to start this firing procedure, we need to open up the file. We'll open up those files so they can fire in between and rotate between.
What about hearing? Was hearing?
I'll answer questions at the very end.
Okay, good.
Now, in order to start this firing procedure, the officer only needs to make a certain command.
See the dog on the carpet.
Yeah, I know.
In which the entire company will bring their guns up to the recover, the front rank man fully cock their muskets, waiting for the next command to set. Each man takes careful aim, ready for independent fire. Now rotate with the rear rank man. The rear rank man will automatically present their muskets, waiting for those rear rank men to finish loading. So there's always a trained musket on an enemy position. Now in the field, they would take a knee, take to tree, hide behind trees, or even get down on the ground completely. Excuse me, sir. I need you to step behind the line. Thank you. Step behind the line. We want you to see the action without becoming a part of the action. Now, these soldiers continue firing like this until the officer deems it necessary to cease fire. Half cock firearms. Shut hands. They can continue doing this for as long as they need to. Now, before I let you go, I want to let you know a few things. First off, after we know our muskets are clear, no, nothing in them, we'll be hanging around to answer any questions you might have. And I know some of you want to take very lovely pictures of me and maybe some of these other guys. So I'll be sticking around for that as well. Now, I want to thank you guys for having so many of you guys come out on a beautiful May day like today. Allow sites like these, Monmouth State Park, to stay open so you can know your history of both the British and American soldiers that fought here. And for that, I thank you, and thank you for coming out to Monmouth State Park today.